over your drop, take over your drop.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Nick, and this is Ballin In The Blitz. Man, I'm feeling good today, man. Preseason is finally over, and the Steelers went 3-0. Like, let's go. It can't get no better than that. We got to see Najee Harris out there. We got to see all the starters. We got to see TJ back out there. And we even got to see the competition of the quarterbacks. And it keeps getting better. And it's finally an end to it, and it's coming up for the decision of Mike Tomlin to pick who starts week 1. I mean, as a Steelers fan, we all kind of know that Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starter. Kenny put up a hell of a fight. I did not expect this from Kenny. Did not expect this at all. I wasn't even that much of a Kenny fan. I mean, I seen what he did his last year in Pitt, and I mean, I was rooting for him when he was a Heisman nominee. I wanted him to get that. I feel like he deserved it. To this day, I feel like he deserves it. But I wasn't even a huge Kenny Pickett fan going into the draft. Honestly, man, I was rooting for Malik Willis. I was hoping we would get Malik Willis. But I'm not mad about it, man. Like, this dude is a dog, and he's showing it. He's just so calm. But we'll get into that, man. It's just crazy that the competition was this good. Like, I did not expect it to be this good. I mean, I never tune in to preseason games. The only time I was tuning in is maybe when Big Ben goes out there for like 1 or 2 drives. But other than that, yeah, man, I'm waiting till week 1 every year. But this year I had to watch this. I had to tune in. Mitch Trubisky versus the rookie, Kenny Pickett. So yeah, man, let's get right to it, man. Mitch Trubisky versus Kenny Pickett. I mean, if you look down on paper, the stats, it's like neck to neck. Like, these guys like was really competing. And I mean, hats off to Kenny Pickett, man. I knew Mitch Trubisky was going to show up. I mean, he's got the experience. He's been in the league for a while. You know, he's older. He played behind a really bad offensive line in Chicago, and he took them to the playoffs still. But like, hats off to Kenny. This dude really came to play. He brought the competition. I think, like, to me, Kenny's the dog. Kenny's the one that came out there and showed them that he's not just some rookie, you know, coming from Pittsburgh. But yeah, on paper, man, it's close. So Kenny's completion rate was 86.4 for the whole preseason. Mitch was right behind him at 80%. 29 of 36 for Kenny and 24 of 34 for Mitch. Kenny threw for 261 yards and Mitch threw for 283 yards. Kenny had 3 touchdowns and Mitch had 2 touchdowns. And the craziest part of it all, neither quarterback had an interception. Now, that's pretty wild, being that our offensive line can barely protect these guys. You know, they're sitting in the pocket and they probably got 2 or 3 seconds to throw the ball and no interceptions. Like, let's go. Like, kudos to those guys, man. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. But yeah, man, like I said, on paper, the stats is just too close. So now this leaves a decision to the coach, Mike Tomlin. It's gonna be tough for him, man. Like, who do you pick? Like, Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett? Like, what do y'all think? You know, my opinion, I'm gonna have to roll with Mitch Trubisky. I mean, I hate saying it, and I feel as if Kenny deserves it the way he played this preseason. He deserves that week 1 spot. I mean, we drafted him in round 1 for a reason. You know, this is the future to Pittsburgh. But the game plan was Mitch Trubisky. Not just that the game plan was Mitch Trubisky, it's just the fact that, I mean, there's a lot of factors. I mean, he's been in the league longer, he's got the experience, and the O-line is the most important thing, man. Like, the main thing to me is I don't want Kenny out there behind an O-line that's just, I mean, I don't want to say trash, but it's pretty bad. Like, I don't think it's better than last year. Like, it might even be worse. It's like they can't stay consistent enough. You know, one guy's playing good, then the other guy's playing bad, and then they switch spots. One guy's playing bad, and the other guy's playing good now. Like, I don't know what they're doing out there. I mean, we'll get into the offensive line in a little bit, but I don't want Kenny out there behind an O-line that's just not going to protect him. I mean, not to say that he isn't ready for something like that. I mean, he showed it in preseason when he was behind the starting O-line. I mean, he was showing out. Like, I mean, he was throwing dots. Like, let's be real. Like, the dude was showing out. But I still don't want him going up against high competition. Like, week 1, we take on Cincinnati. I mean, they were just in the Super Bowl. Like, they got nothing but dogs on that offense and defense. Like, I mean, they're a good team. Top 3. Yeah, I don't want Kenny out there against something like that. I'd rather have him, you know, be fully ready. But, yeah, that's the main reason for me of why I think Mitch should start. But not to say that Kenny can't just go in there, you know, maybe after the bye week, go in there and take over. But I don't see why he has to if Mitch is playing good through the whole season. Now, again, like Kenny's a dog. Like he's gonna be competing for that spot in the practices, and he's been competing in training camp. But Mitch, that's who we need to start, and the O line needs to get better, man. We can't just throw Kenny out there behind an O line that's gonna be struggling like that. Uh, yeah, a lot of people are comparing Kenny to. I seen a lot of people are comparing Kenny to Joe Burrow. Like I see it though. I mean, from the small hands perspective, just the way they're just real calm in the pocket. Joe Burrow does the same thing. Like he's just real cool about it, you know. And he's really the thing I like about both of them is they're both confident without being cocky. Like these guys are not walking around like they got a chip on their shoulder, but they're like super confident. Like they know that they can get the job done. Um, I was looking up some stats from their last year in college, and it's pretty close. Joe's got him beat by far. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Kenny, but I mean Joe was at LSU. I mean that LSU is a whole lot better than Pitt. I mean by far, just the whole facility. But yeah, Joe had 60 touchdowns his last year, and Kenny had 42 touchdowns. Kenny had 7 interceptions, and Burrow had 6 interceptions. Quarterback completion ratio was 67.2% for Kenny, and Joe was a little higher at 76.3. Yards, total yards their last year was 4,319 yards for Kenny and 5,671 yards for Joe. That's pretty close. I mean, yes, Joe hasn't beat. Joe had a lot better receivers, but Kenny kept up, man. Like, he really showed out his last year. He broke Dan Marino's records. I mean, the dude was balling out there, like, with the fake slide. Like, I love it. Let's go. So, I mean, I see the comparison, especially the whole small hand things. That's what really started it. They said Joe Burrow's hands are 9-inch hands, and a lot of people dogged him for that, man. A lot of people were talking, saying that he's not going to last in the NFL, that his hands are too small, he's not going to be able to get the ball out, or not going to be able to throw the ball as far. And, I mean, he showed it. I mean, he took the team to the Super Bowl. Like, dude, I really respect Joe Burrow. I mean, I can't stand Cincinnati, but I really respect Joe Burrow. Like, the dude went out there with a shitty-ass O-line, went out there, tore his ACL, like, what was it, like week 4, week 5, bounced back, came back his next year and took his team to the Super Bowl behind a bad offensive line. Like, that, I mean, you got to show respect to that dude. Like, Cincinnati or not, like, the dude's a dog. So, yeah, man, back to the comparisons. Like, they're both 6'3". Kenny's 217 pounds and Joe Burrow's 221 pounds. Their wingspan, Kenny's 73.75 inches and Joe Burrow's 74-inch wingspan. So, I mean, this close, man. Like, but yeah, the main thing of why people comparing them is just how calm they are, man. Like, the accuracy, like the ball is like on the spot, man. Like they both just out there throwing dots, like making plays. Like, I like that though, man. I like that. Like, the future for Pittsburgh is in good hands. I see it. But yeah, enough of quarterbacks, man. Let's talk about this O-line. I hate that we have to get into this, and I don't even want to say too much about this O-line. There's a lot to be said. Yeah, man, but early on struggles. Like, I was hoping we would see a lot cleaned up from last year, because last year was so bad. I mean, it don't make it better with somebody like Big Ben that's not mobile at all anymore. Like, I love Big Ben. I love him. He's done so much for Pittsburgh, from the Super Bowls to just, you know, consistently taking us to the playoffs, just putting the team on his back, man, as a leader, you know. But yeah, man, like he got old, you know. He wasn't mobile enough, and everybody was saying it, and everybody could see it. But yeah, man, the O-line did not clean anything up from last year. Like, just the early on struggles at the beginning of the game. I mean, we had multiple flags on Dan Moore, and then also Kevin Dotson. I mean, we can't have that. Not early on like that. Now, I'm glad they started to figure it out a little bit. It got better. But yeah, man, like it was pretty nasty in the beginning of that game. And it seems to be coming off the left side. Yeah, the left side is not doing their job. I don't know what's going on with Dan Moore. He gave up 3 sacks. 3 sacks this preseason. That's 1 sack each game. Like, we can't have that, man. We got to be better than that. And Kevin Dotson he's usually a baller, but I don't know. He I think it was an ankle injury last year, but ever since that ankle injury, man, he has not been 100%. And they've been trying to throw him out there, so that way Green isn't out there, because Green, we all know the dude out there blocking air, So I get why they're trying to get Kevin Dotson out there. Maybe he is 100%, Maybe he's just struggling. Maybe he's just having, a bad start of the year. It is preseason, but I mean, hopefully they can clean that up. I'm hoping Dan Moore gets that shit cleaned up, because we don't want to see that no more, Dan. Come on. But yeah, on the right side, it looks pretty good. We got James Daniels over there. We picked him up in the offseason. The center looks good. Mason Cole. I haven't seen anything bad from them two. But yeah, man, we just got to clean up Dan Moore's and Green and a little bit of Kevin Dotson. Those guys, they need to clean some of that stuff up, man. I don't want to go into Cincinnati, with the same struggles that they were having in the preseason. Like, it was back-to-back games. Like, maybe if it was one game, I'd be like, okay, like, they'll figure it out. It's just preseason. But, I mean, all 3 preseason games, they have struggled. And it's not just one guy. That's the problem. Like, I'm not just trying to point out, oh, yeah, Dan Moore is the worst one. No, it's a group. It's a group thing, and they're not playing as a team. They're not, they should be better than this. Like, I expect better from Dan Moore. Like, he's going into his year 2 or year 3. I want to say year 2. And, he should learn from last year what he was doing wrong. Let's get better. But, yeah, like I said, man, James Daniels and Mason Cole, they've done pretty good so far. We just got to wait and see in the regular season what they do. And, yeah, it's just, watching Najee out there, too, he looks frustrated, man. Behind that O-line, I don't like seeing that. Somebody so elite like Najee Harris, we got to see him get going. We got to block for that guy. The moment you're letting Najee come into a game, I think his stats were four carries for 10 yards. 4 carries for 10 yards? I mean, come on, y'all. Like, we got to do better than that. Like, we have this elite running back we're just wasting. I mean, we're just asking for him to get hurt. He's getting pummeled on out there. I mean, and he already was injured, and it's like, let's take care of this dude. Let's block for him. Let's make some holes for him. Let's, we should, I don't know, man. I don't know. In my opinion, I honestly think that we should be going after people. Like, we should have went after somebody in the offseason. I mean, well, we did. I'm sorry. But we should have cleaned up where it was a mess. Like, I'm not trying to say bench Dan Moore, but, like, dude, it's coming off that left side. But I get it. I mean, I get what Mike Tomlin's trying to do. He wants them to develop. They're young. It's too early on to go, oh, let's replace them, So I take it back. I mean, I get what he's trying to do. It's just, I just hate seeing it, man. I hate seeing it with these new quarterbacks we got, and especially with Najee Harris. Like, I want to see Najee succeed. I want to see him be able to get, those big runs, those yards that he deserves. But hopefully we can pick that up. But yeah, man, 10 yards for 4 carries is pretty bad. 57 rushing yards total. That's bad too, man. Like, we had Benny Snell out there. I want to say McFarland ran. I think he did. And then we had Najee, of course. And Warren was out there also. We had a couple running backs out there. In total, 57 yards. Like, come on, man. Like, got to be better than that. Got to. But yeah, that's about it for the O-line. Like I said, I don't want to go too deep in it. But, yeah, hopefully we can fix some of that stuff during the season. I don't want to see that out there. Especially when we play, especially the Patriots, man. Like, I'm waiting for that game. Like, week 2, we got to take the Patriots out. And last thing we need is, multiple flags on the line and, just letting up sacks. I think they let Mitch get sacked twice in the first quarter. Like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Let's clean this up. Come on. We got to be better than last year. But yeah, moving on. Trades and cuts. So I seen today we went out and grabbed an outside linebacker. Now, honestly, I didn't even know we were struggling at that spot. I guess we need somebody to back up TJ and Highsmith. Excuse me. But I guess we need someone to back up TJ and Highsmith. I know that Highsmith was hurt. I didn't look too deep into why or what happened, but I didn't see him playing. And I guess he's on injured reserve, maybe. I don't know. I got to look into that. But yeah, we went and grabbed an outside linebacker, Malik Reed. I don't know nothing about the guy. I know he came, what was it, Chicago? Or Denver. Denver. It was the Broncos. He came from the Broncos. He played for somebody else too. Yeah, he came from the Broncos, and they said that he had 13 sacks in the last 2 seasons, which isn't too bad. But yeah, he's gonna be that. He's gonna be in that backup role, so he'll back up TJ and Highsmith, which I mean it makes sense. Like, you know, I think Tomlin's game plan is to do like how we did with was it Clowney? No, not Clowney. I can't think of his name. But basically, I think they want that third guy that they can rotate out and give TJ breaks and Highsmith a break. You know, I don't think they want TJ out there just, you know, all game, just, you know, exhausted by the third quarter. And they don't want to take the chance of injuring TJ. You know, somebody like that, defensive player of the year, we got to keep him, you know, good. We got to keep him healthy. So yeah, we definitely need a backup that can go in there and, you know, play a really good role behind TJ. But yeah, we gave up a 6th round pick for the guy, but they sent us over a 7th round. But supposedly, we went out and used that 7th round. That's what I was reading earlier this morning, is that we went out and actually grabbed Jesse Davis. Jesse Davis came from the Vikings. Honestly, man, I haven't heard a lot of good stuff about him. I don't know if we grab him just because we're desperate because the O-line, or maybe he can play differently with the group of guys we have. But I did not hear anything good about this guy. He actually gave up a lot of pressure, a lot of sacks. I don't know, man. I don't know. We just got to wait and see how he looks with Pittsburgh. But yeah, he was a guard / tackle. They were saying that he played every position but center. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, a veteran like him, if he's able to move around and we can move him where we want and where Mike Tomlin thinks he's fit at, then I mean, I guess that's a plus. It's just what I've seen and heard is not good, man. And I mean, why go out and grab something like that when we already have that problem? You know, you're replacing somebody that's young for somebody that's older, but same problem. You know, I guess we just have to wait and see. He played right tackle last year for the Vikings. Right now, our right tackle is Dan Moore. I want to say it's Dan Moore. So, yeah, I guess I want to say this Dan Moore. No, I'm sorry. It's Chooks. Chooks is our right tackle. So I'm thinking maybe they're gonna move some stuff around. Maybe Mike Tomlin has some stuff, you know, up in his sleeve that he's gonna move some stuff around. Maybe they'll move Chooks over, you know, switch him to left tackle where Dan Moore is, because that's where Dan Moore's on the left side. So I guess they'll move him over to left tackle, move Chooks to left tackle, and be able to put Jesse Davis at right tackle. And then I guess the only option is to bench Dan Moore. I mean, I don't know if they're willing to do that, or maybe they just grab this guy just in case they have to do that. You know, maybe Dan Moore doesn't clean it up, you know, a couple games into the season, it leaves us no choice but to have to bench Dan Moore. I mean, I don't want to see that happen. I mean, Dan Moore's young. I mean, like I was just saying, I was hoping they would have fixed a lot of this. Like, that's where a lot of the problem was coming from that left side where Dan Moore is. But if it has to be done, it has to be done. You know, like, we can't continue to have this struggle at the offensive line, especially if we have a guy like Kenny Pickett coming in soon to take over and be the future for Pittsburgh. We got to get that cleaned up. So, yeah, I guess they could switch Chooks over back to left tackle and put Jesse Davis at the right tackle and bench Dan Moore. But we'll see what happens. But, yeah, that's the big trades I seen today. Yeah, that's about it. But cuts, man. There were some big cuts today. I got a couple names here that, like, we cut a lot of people, but I got a couple names here that really was just a shocker. And one of them, I mean, I was really high on this guy, and you know, maybe he didn't plan out to be what we thought he was gonna be, but I'm still shocked that they got rid of him. I mean, I know some of these guys can probably be re-signed, You know, they're just like waived. But yeah, first name is Marcus Allen. I did not see that coming with Marcus Allen. I think Marcus Allen played really good last year. I don't know what he looked like in training camp. I mean, obviously, I guess he wasn't playing as good as excuse me, last year. I guess he wasn't playing good as last year because I didn't see him much in the preseason. But I mean, I like Marcus Allen. You know, I like what he did for us last year. I think he was a really good player as a linebacker. But I mean, been there for a while. I want to say Marcus Allen's been there for 4 years now. I want to say 3 or 4. But yeah, Anthony McFarland's another one that I did not see coming. I knew it was eventually coming to make that decision of which running backs are we going to keep. You know, which ones are we going to keep on that 53-man roster? And what's that one running back we're going to end up cutting? I knew that we were going to end up keeping Benny Snell's. Najee starter, Benny Snell's going to be the backup. And then basically it was the decision of Anthony McFarland or Warren. I like what Warren's been doing. Warren has been playing really good this preseason. He looks really explosive. A lot of people are comparing him to James Conner. But yeah, he's really fast, man. And just when he gets up that hole, like, he's explosive. He just takes off. And I like to see that, man. Like, we need guys like that to make big plays. I thought Anthony McFarland played really good last year. I thought that they would end up keeping him. I mean, I guess it had to happen eventually, you know. We had to pick one, you know. But yeah, that's another shocker. But the main one that got me was Justin Lane. I didn't think they were going to cut Justin Lane. I thought that we'd end up keeping Justin Lane just in case, you know, for that backup role. But I thought he was a pretty good DB. Now, Pittsburgh usually doesn't do this. Like, I think he was a third round pick or something like that a couple years back. But, I mean, the dude was pretty good in college. And, I mean, I thought that he did okay for us. He had his opportunities. I seen him out there. And, you know, I talked big game about him. You know, I would sit down and watch the games. And I would tell my brothers, like, oh, yeah, this dude, Justin Lane, he's going to take over for, you know, when Joe Hayden or something like that got hurt. I'm like, okay, here comes Justin Lane. You know, I've seen a lot about this guy. And, you know, this guy, he's on ball out. He's a dog. So, you know, I talked a lot of game about him, and he would go out there and prove me wrong. There was a lot of plays that he was just inconsistent, and he was getting burned at the line a couple times. But altogether, he wasn't a bad DB. He wasn't a DB that I thought they were going to cut. So, I mean, that was a shocker for me. Like, that was the main one. I knew Anthony McFarland was going to end up going just because we had a pick from one of the other with the running backs, Warren or Anthony McFarland. I didn't see Marcus Allen, like I said, going. But, yeah, Justin Lane was the main one, dude. Like, I guess with these new DBs that we grabbed, and I guess Witherspoon, you know, did enough to, you know, take that spot. We got Cam Sutton out there. Cam Sutton's been there for a while. I think he's really improved a lot. But, yeah, we'll get into the defense in a little bit. Some other guys they cut, Buddy Johnson and Carlos Davis. Those are some big names that, you know, didn't see that coming either, especially Carlos Davis. I think Carlos Davis just played in this last preseason game, and he actually had a sack. I want to say he was one of the ones that had a sack in the game. Yeah, those are another one that I didn't see that coming. But yeah, injuries. Like, come on. Like, I never knew. I'm hearing from everywhere that I guess we keep our starters in like the whole first half. I never knew that. I don't remember even seeing that. Like I said, I'd never even really watched preseason games like that. I'm only tuning in for the quarterback competition, right? But yeah, man, what are we doing? We got TJ out there way too long. I almost had a damn heart attack watching TJ go out like that. Like, what are we doing? Come on. But yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal. Him and Deontay Johnson, they were reported that they were took into the locker room. I don't remember what Deontay Johnson's injury was, but I know TJ Watt was a knee injury. They showed it on film that I guess he like didn't plant his leg right and it kind of tweaked his knee. And then they were scared, so they took him out. But yeah, afterwards, I want to say around halftime, Mike Tomlin came out to the reporters and told them that that it's nothing really serious, and that if this was a regular season game, that they would already be back out there playing, which is a good sign, you know. And you know, I believe Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's not gonna lie, right? Yeah, what are we doing, man? We can't have them guys out there that long where he's tweaking his knee like that. We can't take a chance like that. I mean, after seeing that, I was like, oh man, not again. I mean, just last year we lost TJ, what was it, a groin injury? Like week 2, week 3? Like, We don't need that. We've seen what our defense looks like without TJ. TJ plays a big role in our defense. You know, he's a leader out there. And when those guys have TJ, like somebody like TJ out there, they play better. So we need TJ to be healthy, 100%. We don't need him playing a whole first half. I get it. Y'all want them to be out there to get ready for Cincinnati. You know, want to get some more playing time. But he had plenty of playing time. He doesn't need to be out there both, you know, first and second quarter. But supposedly they're good, so that's a good sign. But at the time, it was like, no, not again, right? DeMonte Kazi hurt his arm, man. I really feel bad for that dude. I had just seen before that game, I think it was like a couple days, maybe a week before that game, he had tweeted out, you know, thanking Pittsburgh for coming to sign him and giving him an opportunity. It just really sucks to see him go out like that, you know, after we sign him and give him an opportunity. I think he came from the Cowboys. Dude's pretty good. But yeah, I want to say that it was an arm injury. I didn't really look into how serious it was, but I know they put him on the injury reserve list, which is not a good sign, right? I don't know who can step up and play his role. I know, what's his name? I can't think of the guy's name. Ah, man, we switched so many people around in defense now. It's like you can't even keep up. But yeah, man, I hope he gets well. I hope he can get back out there this season. But yeah, it didn't look too good. Yeah, and then finding out Najee was dealing with an injury, that was a shocker. I mean, I know that Najee, I know he was, they said something happened in practice, like beginning of training camp, I want to say. I didn't think it was that serious. I thought that he wasn't playing in these preseason games because they just wanted to keep him healthy. But apparently, I guess he was dealing with an ankle injury, I want to say. Yeah, and man, that was a shocker. I mean, I guess he's 100% now. I mean, he looked 100% playing out there if we could just block for the guy. But yeah, I didn't know that it was that serious. But I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's ready to go. You know, we really need Najee for that week 1 against Cincinnati. But yeah, moving on to defense. Defense altogether, we look good. We look good, man. I mean, our defense has always been good. We've always been top 5 for the last, 4 or 5 years, maybe more, But a lot of guys did their job. A lot of guys didn't. We let up a lot of yards on the run game. We need to fix that. We were almost dead last year of how many yards we're giving up, on the ground. We got to fix that, man. We got too many good guys out there on that defensive line to be letting them, run all over us like that. Like what Detroit did to us last year, we don't need that again. Like that was sad. Like I do not want to be dead last this year, and giving up how many yards. But one guy that stands out was Cam Sutton, man. Cam Sutton stood out a lot to me. The only reason I say Cam Sutton because after he picked the ball off, I really started watching Cam Sutton. And, I mean, the dude he was playing good. Like, just tight coverage and just, I mean, you can't get no better than that. I mean, the dude looked like Joe Hayden out there, maybe even better, And I heard about Joe Hayden. Somebody made a rumor I was reading today saying something about that we reached out to Joe Hayden to sign him for a year, and he said no. And then Joe Hayden ended up tweeting out later saying, fake news. And that Pittsburgh has his agent, he said, has his agent's number. But, yeah, I don't think we really need Joe Hayden. We got some young guys out there that we need to see develop. And yeah, dudes like Cam Sutton, I mean, guys, he's getting better and better each year, man. Like, I remember Cam Sutton was the backup, and they would throw him in there and, pull him out, throw him in and pull him out, back and forth. Now this guy's got a starting role, and he's looking good in preseason. Now, hopefully he can carry that on to the regular season against some, elite caliber teams. But yeah, man, just that pick too, man. That's what really, drew me in to start watching him, play by play and watching how he's playing out there in the coverage. Yeah, for him to be able to take the chance like that and break off of the coverage and go in for the pick, he has to be really confident in himself that quarterback's going to throw that ball there. And he did, and he was right, and he was able to get the pick. It wasn't just the quarterback's fault of throwing it right to Cam Sutton. It was Cam Sutton doing a really good job on reading the quarterback and reading the play, right? But yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick with the sack. Let's go. I mean, Minka's going to do his thing. Minka's a dog. Let's go. Another dude, Miles Jack, man. Whoever's idea it was to go out there in the offseason and grab Miles Jack, like, thank you. Like, whether it was Mike Tomlin or Kevin Colbert or even Rooney, like, we needed that. Like, that was probably the biggest move for us in the offseason was Miles Jack. I like what the dude's doing all preseason, man. This dude is just a leader out there. You can tell. He's just, I feel like he's doing good for Devin Bush as well. Now, Devin Bush has struggled, and we've seen him struggle in this last game. But I think that with Miles Jack out there, that's somebody that Devin Bush can lean on, that he can learn from. I seen them talking, chopping it up, and I feel like Devin Bush really needs that. Like, I love Ryan Shazier, man. Ryan Shazier is one of my favorite players. I hate that happened to him. I wish he was still playing with us because I feel like if Ryan Shazier was there, this never would have happened to Devin Bush. With all this pressure under this dude, and he's young, like he just tore his ACL, and everybody's just dogging him the first year he comes back because he's not playing nowhere near as what he was his first year, right? So it's like a lot of pressure, man. I get it. I'm not one of them dudes that's going to be like, oh, this dude sucks. Get him out, get him out, get him out. I know Devin Bush is an athlete. Like, this guy can ball, right? But, I mean, I just don't think his head is in the game. I don't think he's focused enough. It's like he's lost. He doesn't know where the ball's going, But with somebody like Miles Jack there, he's a little more experienced. He's a vet, and he can be there to, show Devin Bush the ways. And he really needs that. Big time right now. Just watching Devin Bush out there in the beginning of the game was pretty frustrating. He had big plays, and he had some plays that was like, dude, same stuff we've been dealing with Devin Bush. There was a play that stood out the most that people complain about with Devin Bush is that he can't get off the block, right? So when they go out and block him, he's not able to do anything to stop the run or anything, right? And there was a play that stood out, and it was right there in plain sight that the tight end, I want to say it was a tight end that ran straight up the middle to block Devin Bush and was able to let the running back take off for I think it was like 12 yards he went off for. And we got to stop that. I mean, Devin Bush got to figure out how to break off these guys, And, but there were some plays. He came up and he was making some plays. I seen it. I think that he's only doing that because of Devin Bush. Miles Jack. Watching Miles Jack, man, that dude is just out there balling. Like, that play that he stopped the run behind the line, I think it was like second quarter. That's crazy. Like, we need that. I like that. I like what I'm seeing from Miles Jack. Dude's good. But yeah, if Ryan Shazier was there, I feel like he would have been able to lead Devin Bush in the right path and make sure this doesn't happen to Devin Bush because before we picked up Miles Jack, you can really tell that Devin Bush had all the pressure on his shoulders. And he was expected to really stand up. Being that we moved up in the draft to grab this guy in the first round, and then the guy that he's playing right behind, gets injured really bad to where he can't even play the game anymore. And now this guy is expected to step up and take on that role. It's a big thing. And then a year or two later, tear his ACL and be out for the rest of the season. I mean, it can't get no worse than that. And I see why he's not focused. I feel like he'll fix it. If not, I don't see the Steelers keeping him. I see them moving on. That's just the type of team they are. But with Miles Jack there, I'm hoping he can step up, play that Ryan Shazier role, and be that vet and show Devin Bush, how it's done, what he needs to fix. And even with Flores coming on over there, that we really needed that too. He's basically just like another head coach there, man. Even though he's a linebacker coach, the dude's like another head coach there. He's a smart guy, and I feel like maybe he can be even more help for Devin Bush. And, we'll figure that out. But, yeah, Miles Jack, man, might have to grab that jersey, man. Might have to grab that. But other than that, I think we got into everything. What else is there? I know we got a little longer than a week and a half till week 1 against the Bengals. We'll be talking about that in a couple days. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this. I wish it was Joe Burrow versus Kenny Pickett. but it's not. We all know that Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starter in that game. But, I mean, you never know. The way, Mitch Trubisky came out there and played against Detroit, it is Detroit, and it is preseason. But the way he played pretty good, man. He looked comfortable. And hopefully he can go out there and do the same thing against Cincinnati. But it's going to be pretty cool, man, to watch Joe Burrow versus Mitch Trubisky. I got a lot of hope for him. I don't want to see him, just go out there first game and just play like shit. I want to see him beat Cincinnati, or at least put up a fight. But yeah, that's gonna be good. I will make a video a couple days before the game. Put up that. Y'all go check that out. But yeah, that's all we got, man. That's all we got for the podcast today. And y'all go click and subscribe. Appreciate it. Ballin' in the Blitz.
We supply who buy. Walk in your drop and take over your drop. Walk in your drop and take over your drop.